Hello and welcome to the Monster Painter. This time I'm going to take this cheap dollhouse I got at the thrift store and turn it into some tabletop terrain. And oh boy, there's even a prize inside. So this very inexpensive dollhouse from the thrift store is some merchandise from the very popular Disney movie Frozen. Frozen has provided me a great deal of fantasy gaming miniatures over the years, and it continues to put out. The dollhouse unsurprisingly contains dolls. The dolls are a mixed bag for tabletop gaming. I think at least one of them has some potential. The dollhouse also contains dollhouse furniture, and this is great stuff with tons of potential. Yep. It looks like Frozen keeps providing a whole lot of tabletop fun. Now, while most of the dolls are almost the correct scale, these ones are all far too cute to be viable as tabletop gaming miniatures. So alas, they shall be returning to the thrift store from whence they came. Conversely, the dollhouse furniture is just the right scale and the right kind of style for a quasi-medieval setting. In fact, they probably don't even need a paint job, but I'm going to paint them anyway. As well, the Marshmallow doll is a good scale and isn't quite too cute, so I think I can make him into a very viable wargaming miniature. One of the tricks to making a toy into a gaming miniature is simply to glue that toy to an appropriately sized base. This goes a long way in converting something from a kiddie toy into a manly model. I find when working with a model that has a strong brand association, like just about any product produced by Disney, you either have to lean into that branded image and really make it look like that copyrighted character, or you have to use a color scheme that will transform the model into something new, something that will create distance from the original character and give the model a new and independent identity. To that end, I have repainted Elsa's beloved and ferocious snow golem guardian Marshmallow, transforming him into Russ, the dire potato, a powerful creature of the soil created by the strange magics of agromancy, a monster that is frightening and dangerous, but also, when prepared properly, he's quite delicious. The two beds have a great scale and are very convincing in a fantasy setting. In fact, the paint jobs on them are so good they don't really need to be repainted at all. But that's not what the Monster Painter is about. I wanted something that looked like it belonged in the good room at the inn rather than at the palace where the princess sleeps. So I genericed them up a bit. I feel like a lot more adventure happens at the inn rather than the palace, so I will get more use out of them with this color scheme. Have I improved them? Maybe, maybe not, but I do think they look good now. The other piece of nicely scaled dollhouse furniture from this set is that vanity dresser. Again, the paint job is passable, but I have something special in mind for this bit of old furniture. Let's see if I can pull off a bit of an optical painting trick. Depicting a mirror with paint represents a bit of a conceptual challenge. I could have reattached the oval-shaped bit of silver mylar that the vanity originally came with, and that would have worked just fine. Alternatively, I could have attempted an abstract stylization of a mirror, the kind that you often see in illustrations. It is a bit tricky, but it is a tried and true approach. I, however, wanted to do something much more eerie and sinister. First, the mirror is painted a flat black. Then, using interference paints, aka color shift or color shimmer or whatever, and with the help of a magnifying lens, I will freehand paint a spooky image onto that base black color of the mirror. The transparent, metallic-y, shimmery nature of this kind of paint applied over a flat black void should give us a rather dramatic result. It is tricky to get it to work properly in freehand, but you can add little touches of flat black to clean up the image, and it should work fine. Well, now let's see if I pulled it off. And there we have it, a ghostly image floating in a black void. Now our mirror is haunted, evoking all the strange wonder and mystery of those reflective objects. No longer a mere piece of dungeon furniture, this vanity can function as a treasure token, a plot device, an end goal, or even an adversary. More importantly, it reinforces my opinion that most of the furniture you pick up at the thrift store is haunted. Now that the dire potato and the dungeon furniture are out of the way, we can get back to that dollhouse. It's a little narrow to be convincing as a tabletop house. Fortunately, I have a second house, and I plan to glue them together and make a proper wargame dwelling out of them. On to the dangerous part. With the help of my trusty utility knife, I will cut the house from its very sturdy base. The back wall will come off with that said base. Then I will remove the purse strap handles and trim up the bottom of the base so it's nice and even. And voila! The two houses are ready to become one house. The much less dangerous but equally tricky step is to glue and fit the two parts together. I lay down some super glue on both sides of the join and wait a couple of minutes so the glue becomes nice and tacky. Then I press them together, and as best as I can, I try to minimize the seam. Now we have a building with a much more convincing set of proportions. The last step before painting the house up is to fix the holes in the roof where the handle strap thing used to attach. To this end, I am going to knead up a small lump of terracotta milliput and use it to fill in those holes, texturing them with my handy sculpting tool. I will also fix the bases of the pillars by the door. That original part went with the original base of the toy. And now I think it's time to paint this thing up. So, with a few layers of paint and a more gothic color scheme, this frozen dollhouse is transformed into a very convincing piece of tabletop terrain. It no longer looks like Anna's family home, and while it is imperfect, it does have two front doors after all. It still looks good and will fit very nicely in with my other buildings. Furthermore, it looks really good alongside a bigger frozen dollhouse I converted a year or two ago. Yeah, I am very pleased with this $6 dollhouse. It's going to make a great piece of tabletop terrain. Yes, indeed, this set is definitely some thrift store treasure. They are quite fun, very useful, and altogether, I think they might have some very interesting eerie narrative potential.
Hey, is there a full moon tonight?
Yes, I believe there is. Why do you ask?
Well, I have been tragically infected with a dreadful and mysterious form of lycanthropy.
Are you saying you have become a dreaded werewolf?
No, not exactly.
Well, what then? A werebear, a wereboar, a were-rat, maybe a were-bunny?
Don't be ridiculous. This isn't some silly Wallace and Gromit cartoon. I have a serious condition.
Okay, what is it then?
You see, I am a warehouse.
A warehouse? You mean to tell me that under the light of the full moon, you transform into a house?
Yes. It's a very disturbing illness.
And, is it a haunted house?
Well, of course. I mean, it wouldn't be very scary if I turned into a 2-bedroom bungalow with good access to transit, would it?
And, can, people enter the house?
Well, yes, but they would have to get past the dreadful dire potato that guards the grounds and the entrance to the haunted house.
Oh, dire potato, of course. And, if they get past the dire potato, what do they find inside the house?
Mostly old furniture and some antiques, and there's a collection of vintage comic books.
That's all? That's not very scary.
Well, if those trespassers wander the eldritch halls for long enough, they may stumble across a terrifying secret, entity of such mind-shattering horror that it will ruin their sanity and destroy the very fabric of their understanding.
Ooh, that's scary. Can they get out of the house?
How the hell should I know? I usually just wake up the next morning covered in sweat and vomit, lying in some abandoned field somewhere.
Are you sure you're not just hitting the malt liquor too hard again?
Oh dear. Is it almost sundown? I've got to get out of here and find a vacant lot somewhere. So long!
Yeah, you better run. I'm gonna stay here and watch a monster fight. Yeah, a monster fight. Yeah.
Tonight's monster fight features this dire potato, the very deadliest of nightshades, versus this Catoblapless, a dire herbivore with a really tricky name. Who will win? Only the old bones know. Huh. Well, would you look at that? Well, that's going to take a little longer than normal to play out.
Jump, jump. They're poisonous.
And the herbivore has learned his lesson. Some root vegetables are poisonous unless they're cooked properly. I'm gonna repaint old Dungeons and Dragons pre-paints. Oh yeah. Remember to like, comment, subscribe, share the video, and ring the bell. Ring the bell!
You are watching Les the Monster Painter.